Allison from Learning at the Primary Pond. I'm a literacy specialist, and in this video, I'm going to tell you about a mistake that many teachers make and many writing programs actually make, and I'm going to tell you what to do instead. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, it would mean so much to me if you did, and then also don't forget to hit that little bell so that you don't miss out on any of the videos that I post about teaching literacy. So writing instruction is a very important part of the literacy block. Right now, as I'm filming this, reading instruction is getting a lot of attention, and reading instruction is important, but writing is just as important. That said, writing can be very difficult to teach, and to make matters worse, some teachers don't have a writing program, or they have one that's not developmentally appropriate, or they have one that's part of a reading program and writing just didn't really get enough attention. Let me know in the comments if you have a writing program that you use. I'm just curious because, at least for many years, a lot of teachers just didn't have anything to go on. Okay, so back to that mistake that I see many teachers make. This mistake is to not provide enough structured, guided practice. So what this might look like is you might teach a lesson on a skill, but then you just have the kids go off and write, and they're not necessarily, like, they might use the skill, but they might not, and you're not really like giving them specific practice in what you just taught them. And so writing time is kind of unstructured, it may be unproductive, and there's just not that bridge between what you're teaching and the kids applying it independently. So let me show you a couple of examples of this. This is actually from my second grade writing unit 3, which is on writing nonfiction books. Let me show you how a couple of the lessons, just in some examples of how you build that bridge between the skill that you're teaching and kids actually using it in their writing. Now, first of all, I want to show you that there is always like a set of goals. This is a rubric for this unit that you're working towards. So for example, you want your students to use transition words. You want them to, write with detail by doing at least one of the following: giving examples, making comparisons, using adjectives, using adverbs. So there are specific things that you're working toward. And that's a piece of the puzzle too, right? It's not just you're teaching and then the kids are like doing, you're actually seeing like, okay, are they doing what I'm teaching them to, and are we working toward these goals? Okay, so here's an example of a lesson from the program. In this lesson, you are teaching the students how to write a strong introduction to their nonfiction books versus just kind of like launching into talking about whatever their topic is, okay? So in the lesson, you teach these 3 strategies. This is like a visual that you can have up for the kids. And then you are doing some modeling. In the lesson, you're writing about chameleons, and you write 3 like sample introduction sentences or pairs of sentences. You're writing one for this strategy, start with a sound word, another one for ask the reader a question, another one for give an interesting or surprising fact. So you're giving them an example of each, and then the kids get to vote on which particular introduction that you modeled that they like best. You could even have them help you a little bit if you think that they're at the point where they can participate, okay? So that's in the lesson. Then what you do is you have the kids take out their writing folders, and at this point in the unit, they've been kind of starting to write nonfiction pieces. It could be about animals or sport or whatever. And they sit down at their desks, but instead of just getting started writing, you have them stop, talk to a partner, and they each choose the strategy that they want to use, okay? So after they've chosen the strategy, they talk to their partner about it, planning what they're gonna do, and then they start writing. So they are actually using the strategy that you taught in their own writing. Now, if you notice kids are struggling, then you can bring them together and you can choose just one of these strategies, like this would be in small group, and you would work with them to use one of those strategies to get them started, okay? But regardless of if your kids are good after they have that partner conversation or in small group, you are still giving guided practice so that they can use what you just taught them in their actual writing. That example is content focused, right? The content of what they're writing, but I also have lessons like this that are more focused on like the grammar, the mechanical aspects. And in one of these lessons, you model how to use combining words to create more complex sentences. So obviously you have to show the kids the combining words, and then what the resources have, they give you this little, it gives you this little passage on tornadoes, like an example piece of writing, which this is similar to what the kids would be writing. and you are gonna model how you go through and you combine some of these sentences using combining words. And then there's very quick guided practice for the kids with another little passage. Last but not least, you have the kids go through and look at some writing they've done and see if they can combine any sentences. So again, this is kind of the gradual release. You're not just saying, look, you can do this, now go write. It's okay, like I do, we do it together, and then you do it on your own. So it's that bridge between the lesson and their actual writing. I hope that that was helpful to see. Again, there's like a ton of creativity that kids can bring to the writing process, but we also do need to have clear goals, just like these units do, and then scaffold our kids so that they can get to the point where they're using these skills in their writing. If you want to learn more about my writing units, I have many more units than this. I have like a full year's worth for kindergarten, first grade, and second grade, and I'll include information about that in the caption. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this was helpful. Before you leave, it would mean so much to me if you'd hit the like button and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.